ready?
Oh, we're good. All right, we're live. And so this is really super last
Six.
minute and stuff and pretty much unscripted. Welcome back, Danny, Best Bud, for Retro Week.
Hey, how's it going? Glad to be back.
Yeah,
I don't
finally.
get invited much, so.
Antisocial ass.
Yeah,
Uh,
only on Tuesdays.
yeah, right. But yeah, nice to have you here so we can finally talk about this stuff because I've been wanting to talk with you about some like old games that someone could relate to a bit. And so this week we're just talking about old games that we used to love as kids. But I wanted to ask you, as usual, since we don't get to hear from you that much, how what have you been playing?
Still, actually, I've been playing, was that Rise of the Phoenix? Immortal Phoenix, whatever the game is.
Phoenix Immortal Phoenix Rising, something like that.
Immortal Phoenix Rising.
Yeah,
I've been playing that. That'd be kind of
Breath of the
fun.
Wild
They
2.0.
re-released it for the. Yeah. I mean, Breath of the Wild, like, Breath of the Wild meets God of War. Like, it has a lot of those,
With the Greek
you
mythology.
know, yeah, it's all about the Greek mythology. Even they even mention Kratos, type of thing.
They do.
Oh, did I say Chronos? I don't say
Oh,
Kratos. Chronos, sorry.
okay.
But like the Zeus and and I think what's the god of water? Got his
Poseidon.
name. But basically, Poseidon is like tied up
Mm,
and is telling the story. The Zeus had tied him up for whatever reason, and I guess there's some like monster god destroying everything, and Zeus needs help. Took his lightning from him,
yeah.
and it starts off with Poseidon still chained up. Zeus had chained him up, and he's like, and it's like very jokey back and forth. I'm like, yeah, I think you exaggerated by chaining me up here for forever, but I'll still help you, and type of thing. And he's like, well, because basically Poseidon's trying to convince Zeus that men are worth having, and that you don't really need him. You just need a man that's worthy to help out, or some bullshit like that. And
Uh,
that's when it's like they're telling the story of the immortal view, the Phoenix.
okay.
And you like come off a boat, and then the first thing you do, you see you get to your sword, and your sword is like it's a story about how his brother had his sword. This is his brother's sword. It's a story about how it once belonged to Achilles, you know, and then it turns out it's not just a story. It's true. It was Achilles' sword, and
Um,
all like that.
is the game like kind of linear-ish, or is it just open for anything and everything?
No, it's super open world.
Yeah.
I mean, it has the basic. They want you to go here, go there.
Yeah.
Obviously, go to this next mission.
Yeah.
But it's a big huge open world map. You can go wherever you want. Like I've gone to a few parts that I'm probably not supposed to do, but because the game is easier, because again, it's a if it's like a not kid, but it seems like a easier version of God of War. Obviously, G God of War.
Yeah.
So it's not hard. Obviously, there's simple patterns you can dodge and do all that stuff, and deflect and everything. But it's just kind of cool in the beginning. You're constantly just throwing at. They throw tons of things at you. Like first you get the sword, then you get an axe, somebody's axe. I forgot what it was. But then you get Hercules's gauntlet. So you have to strength to Hercules. Then you get Artemis's bow. So you shoot the bow,
Hmm.
and then you get like somebody's wings, the Odysseus's wing. Like they throw all this cool mythology stuff at you. Every weapon item you get is from mythology,
That's
Greek
cool.
mythology, and this is
Okay.
kind of fun. And you get like part of Zeus's lightning to boost up and stuff like that. It's very interesting. It's very good, and the way it looks, like is like Breath of the Wild. The way it looks,
Hmm.
so it looks really great, especially PS5.
You haven't beat it yet.
It's just
You
funny.
just did you get far?
I just started. I didn't play for a
Okay.
few hours.
Hmm.
It's not the hardest.
I was gonna say. So, what were you thinking of? Because there's some other questions I wanted to ask you too before we get started for like the normal topics and stuff. What were you thinking of? Some of the news that we talked about, like the Mortal Kombat movie. What'd you think of the trailer?
I thought it was good. I think it's gonna meet up to the expectations
Or are you
of the
breaking
original
up?
movie. I think it's gonna meet up to the original expectations of the original movie.
Yeah.
Because if you watch the original movie, it's actually quite bad.
Well, in
You know,
standards now, yeah,
compared.
definitely.
I don't.
You know you loved it as a
I
kid.
think
Come on.
yeah, that's the thing. You loved it because you're like, oh my God, they made a movie out of something I liked. I know what this is. This
Yeah.
is the first video game movie. It's like the first comic book movie. Like if you watch Spawn or something, movies back then, you might have liked it back then.
Yeah.
But it's a horrible fucking movie now, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So like in hindsight, whoever the actor they used for Sonya Blade in the original, that was just pure for looks. She did not know how to fight. It was just weird. You know, they just tried. Don't get me wrong, they did a good job. I think they did. They took a lot of the elements from the original game, tried to put it in there,
Mm.
storyline, but overall it was not the best movie. So I think, but I do think it's gonna lead up to that expectation because for what I've seen, those fight scenes, they look like it's
Why?
gonna be
Why
fun.
is that?
Karate movie fight scene. Because those fight scenes, they look like it's gonna be a fun karate movie.
Hmm.
Like there's a scene where Sub-Zero stabs, he like stabs him, the blood comes out, he freezes his blood and stabs him again. Like this comes right out of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool.
And that's what they need to do, especially the newer games. Because I think they're gonna have a lot of stuff that comes right out of the newer games.
Be
You
creative
know,
with the martial
because
arts
that's
and
what the
like
newer game.
the action stuff like that you would do in the game essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean the game's very exaggerated. You know, broken bones, things like that, and then they still get up and walk away. You know, I think they're still gonna do a lot of that stuff,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be, I think, and they're gonna more towards the actual story of it. Like they can tell the true Scorpion and Sub-Zero story, how Sub-Zero betrayed his clan, and really Scorpion's a good guy, but you know he just sold his soul to the devil for his clan type of thing,
Yeah.
for revenge. You know, I think they'll tell a much better story, and you'll get all that we've seen in other animes or we've seen in other variations. 'Cause they had that really cool. I'm not sure if you've seen it, that like Mortal Kombat movie they did on YouTube. Had that fan,
That
whatever it
fan
was,
made
where
yeah, what do you call
yeah,
it? It's a short movie, yeah.
yeah, but it did the story really well.
Hmm.
Obviously, it didn't look the best, but it's not martial arts, but it did the story super well. And I think you're gonna get that mixed with some great martial art stuff going on, and that's what you want from this overall. It's gonna feel like a Mortal Kombat. I think it's. I'm actually excited for it.
Cool. And so the other thing too, then, what about Outriders? I know we talk about it a lot, so tell me your thoughts.
Oh, you know, I nutted so hard when I were playing that game. I think I fanboyed over it so bad, like just from the demo. Again, I knew a little bit. I seen a few videos before because everybody kept saying, this game's gonna be a nice Destined Killer. And you're like, whatever.
Yeah.
I've heard this before. And then, like, I remember when I first played Anthem's demo. Like, this is not quite what I thought. It looks a little, it's kind of glitchy and, looks, doesn't really look as nice as what it, it's just saying, I'll give it a chance. And you give it a chance and you have fun. You have a lot of fun, but then you get to the end game of it and you're like, well, I'm done. There's nothing else for me to really want to grind for because
Hmm.
everything looks, all the weapons look exactly the same. There's nothing, you can't tell a difference between them. Who cares? And the powers are all, yeah, they're named different, but they're the same power, you know? So, like, if you're not actually grinding for anything, then what's the point? Or grinding for anything, then the
Yeah.
point?
Yeah.
And that's when that game bumped. But played this demo, Outriders, and first thing I know is like, holy shit, you have these trees where you're gonna have different type of
Big
pyromancer or
trees.
whatever. But there's the big trees where you can actually feel like you're customizing your character.
Yeah.
You know, combined you can have that tanky pyro, just the DPS, but whatever. And you have the healer. There's a healer class. There's a tank class. It literally like pulls people in, and they all look at you like this shit like that. That like this is that part's cool. All right, what about the weapon? The weapons seem different too. Yeah, the shotgun, basic shotguns, assault rifle, sniper, whatever. but then they all had these cool added perks. And again, this is early game, super early. So if you're getting weapons that are already have some perks that freeze people, burn
Yeah.
people, do all types of stuff like that, and then you get the armor, or automatically the armor was, oh, it upgrades some of your abilities just by having certain armor. I'm like, well, all this in the combination of things, you can see them having a better end game where there's stuff to grind, and then the story itself was really interesting.
You're
Now,
breaking
I
up.
can't tell you. Listen, the story itself was just interesting as well.
Yeah.
Um, I can't tell you what the story to Anthem was. You know,
Yeah, that's true.
like something.
They're pulling the
No, I
old
have no
Destiny
idea.
1 mistake where they were putting all the lore in the game as like this readable content that nobody wanted to read. They didn't put it in the actual story, so it was just no fun.
Yeah, and in this, Outriders, you have a nice story. You know, you start off with this almost like a basic storyline of them trying to find a new world or whatever, and then it all goes to shit. You're frozen in this apocalyptic world, which is kind of cool because you're not on Earth. At the end of the day, you're not on Earth. You're on a different planet doing all this crap.
Yeah.
So you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what the world's gonna look like. You don't know what to expect. And the storyline, how they're getting into it, seeing the people getting shot, killed, hung, all that crazy shit. It's like, oh fuck. It's like they took Destiny and threw Borderlands into it. Like it's just
Yeah.
crazy, you know.
Yeah, it's a little
So
more.
I'm
It's a
just
little
like,
more out there. I liked also even the stuff that they didn't show because I saw like pictures of the exotic weapons, and the exotic weapons look really cool. Really cool.
yeah.
Like I don't know what the
Like
perks are, but they
I've
look
seen
nice.
the exotic armor.
Mm-hmm.
The exotic armor they have, or the armor, the pieces they have, they like you look alien like, you know,
Yeah.
because that's what this is from. You're from
Mm-hmm.
an alien world. You know, you are part of the lava, whatever it is. It looks awesome, you know. And then obviously the graphics in PS5, which is compared to none. So it's like it's gonna be a great game. And then just the combination of stuff while we were playing, like I was blowing them up while you're like concentrating on, you know, like the combinations. You froze a bunch of people, and I went able to blow them all the fuck up as
Yeah.
you're doing that because you froze them all. Like combinations of moves and stuff are gonna be so much fun to do. And I've seen other footage of characters using their own combos for their own moves. Like, you know, it's like that.
Oh no, we lost you, Danny. Oh well, we lost him there. There he is.
Man, you disappeared.
I didn't do anything. You just dipped.
It was you. I don't know. Or maybe it
Oh,
was me. I don't know.
I
But
don't
you
know.
just disappeared.
It was one of us.
I was looking at you and then you just disappeared. Anyway, yeah. I forgot the
All right,
last
yeah.
thing you said, but
Well, yeah, you were still comparing it to like Anthem and everything, and the
yeah,
exotic
I
armor.
just think the game, I just think the game, I think the outright game is gonna be a fun game to play to give you that something that a lot of people wanting for the PS5, a multiplayer game that's challenging, fun, you play for a long time, as you know, 40 hours of probably a regular storyline, and then we'll see what the end game is. At the end of the day, though, like every one of those games, it all depends on what they do for the end game. Like, I don't know if they have raids planned or whatever, but you know, obviously not every game is gonna plan out a raid right away, but
Yeah,
they need to have something planned, you know, for the end game content to keep people playing.
yeah,
Because that's what Anthem didn't do. They
yeah,
had no end game at all, and no reason to want to play that game.
yeah. Sadly, it's gone now. So, oh well. Hopefully, we'll get something similar to playing like Iron Man or something. But Outriders is probably gonna
That was fun though. I
scratch that
mean, that
itch.
that yeah, it had such potential. They just failed on the basic mechanics of why you play a game. You
Yeah,
know, you need you're trying to get that loot. You're trying to get that weapon that's obtainable to make you OD powerful, whatever it is. And then if you do obtain it, it has to look cool and be cool and be the worth the grind.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Well, yeah. So we look forward to that. We're gonna be. I know we're gonna be playing a lot of that. I think Destiny's gonna be neglected for a while, especially because the next expansion got set back for until next year, actually, early next year. So we will be playing Outriders for a while and kind of have fun with that one. Nice break from Destiny.
I can't remember after Outriders. I'm not really sure what I'm looking forward to.
After what?
You know, A- after Outriders, I'm not really sure what I'm looking forward to. I know there's that fairy game. I've got the name of it from Square Enix.
Kenna.
I think it's Square Enix. Kinda, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's gonna be fun.
You talked about Returnal too. You wanted to play Returnal, right?
Oh yeah, that's another one that
Yeah.
comes out soon. I think that
That
did it
comes
get
out
pushed
in
back?
the end of March, March 30th, I think.
Oh, okay, good.
So
So
soon.
that's another one I want to play. Don't think I pushed back, but yeah, that's another one that's gonna be really fun.
Sorry.
Sadly
No,
no
no.
multiplayer,
I'm
but
sorry. No, not March 30th. April 30th, because I know it comes after Outriders.
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it got pushed back.
Yeah. But
So that's another one, but that should be enough time to get you Outriders, play that, and then
yeah.
want to play that. It looks like a control type of game.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
So, obviously, I played the remake of the PS5 version of Control, and that was really fun. I'm not sure we talked about last time, but that was really good. Did a great job on that. I mean, it's a great game altogether. It's just it runs so much smoother on a PS5.
I
The
just
frame rate and
downloaded it
everything.
too, so I'll be playing that once I'm done with Hitman.
Yeah, you kind of beat it already, though, right?
I did, but I never played the DLCs because I wasn't sure if they were worth it or
Yeah, and
not.
they give you all the free DLCs,
Yeah,
so
I
it's worth
re-downloaded
it.
it with the DLCs included because the free PlayStation Network games had the full package for free. So I was like, hell yeah.
But like, but like every other PS5 game that's been the trend, your save game doesn't cross over.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of iffy about it, but I'm like, okay, I love the game. It was so good. I probably won't. I almost 100% of the game. So obviously, if my since my save game's not
Yeah.
coming through, then I'm not gonna push myself like I did last time. So I just want to
Well,
play the DLC.
that's the thing. That's the thing they're doing, and I get it. They want you to. It's a free upgrade,
Yeah.
so I don't get if they were making you pay for it over again, then it kind of makes sense not to give you to upload your save game,
Mm-hmm.
and there might be some cross thing. And it doesn't make most games are Final Fantasy you could do no problem. Anyway, it doesn't make any sense to me not to be able to export your game.
It
If
must
you
be a
export your
system
game and you
thing.
want
I mean, sorry, not a system thing. It
to, yeah,
must be an engine thing. It must be something on the developer's end where there's just like, yeah, there's too much of a difference between the PS4 and PS5, and some games could do it and some
for most
can't.
times, and it doesn't like the Yakuza game. The Yakuza game had no. I seen the game. The game looks not much. I mean, the game looked great to begin. I mean, game's a little bit older, but
Hmm.
it was a great game. And on the PS5, it didn't make that big of a difference. The load times were already extremely fast. Everything was really fast. They didn't have a frame rate issue.
Hmm.
I mean, at least playing on the PS5 anyway. So, like, it didn't really need the upgrade. And if you're gonna do it,
Just
you
keep
could have
that in
just
mind.
exported the game.
Yeah.
Because I got to the ending and I was gonna beat the game with the PS5 version, and I'm like, with this, oh, export. I'm not gonna go through the whole shit again. It's an RPG. It's not.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
not some 10-hour game that's easy to get through.
yeah, it was put 30, 40, 50 hours into this game. I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
So, and I know my cousin, Adam, he did the same exact thing. He loved the game. He's the one who got me to play the game. I would not
Hmm.
have played the game
Same
unless
here.
he bumped it up. And he doesn't even like PS RPG games that much.
Mm.
And he bumped it up. I looked at it, I played it, but he's not doing it either because it's not worth it. So why waste the time of having these PS5 games like that? Control would have been. I can see Control being very similar to other people because people who love the game already had the DLC, already did all that. They're already done. So why play it all over again?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks okay. It looks better. Don't get me wrong, but not that much better. I mean, it does actually look a lot better, but but you already played it. It's done.
Hmm.
So your game should be able to export it, play from wherever you want to a new game plus, play it on new game plus, and it's harder. So it feels like a more challenging game. You already gone through what you need to do, so it's not hard. So that's the problem that I'm having with the PS5 right now. Though all these games that are coming out, we redone. They're just making you
Eventually,
play it over
eventually, I
again.
think you won't even have to worry about it because once they start rolling in a lot more PS like exclusive PS5 games, you won't be going back to PS4 as much.
Yeah,
At least for people like
and that's
us, there are a
true.
lot
But
of
like
people
the
who
Final
like the
Fantasy,
backwards. Yeah,
the Final Fantasy is gonna come out and it's gonna be the same shit. Like I'm not gonna actually play the main game because I'm not gonna.
I'm
But
not doing that
then
again.
that's the thing. But then that's the thing. Like I need that I want to. The Final Fantasy is the only one that can trick you into be playing the game no matter what. Okay, what if Final Fantasy Part 2 comes out and you need your save game from PS5 in order to play it? Or to, not to play it, but to get you whatever it is you're gonna cross over.
Yeah,
Because it is
I
supposed
get
to
it.
be a
Your
sequel.
stats and stuff like
You know what
that.
I mean? So something. Or they automatically just make you, I don't know. Like, I think there's a lot of questions with that people still want to know what the hell. And I bet you money this are trying to figure out why the game hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
that's probably one of the
they're
biggest
putting
things,
this,
and the open world aspect
they're
to it,
putting
if
this
they're even
deal.
gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean it is DLC in there, but just to buy time, to buy another few years. You
Yeah,
know,
yep.
because exactly what's gonna happen another year or so maybe before they come out with a real game. Unless at
I
the end of that it says,
I wonder how
some
long
kind of
they've
hint from
been.
Sport 2.
Let's get into that actually, because I wonder how long they've been. All right, so we know it took them a long time to come out with the remake, and now that they have the bare bone system in place, so that way they can make the sequels a lot easier. You would think they'll roll this out a lot quicker, but they've been working secretly on these spin-off games and DLC. So I wonder, like, what are your thoughts on it for number one? And number two, like, do you think we would have got it sooner if they were just not even bothering with these things?
I think I think again I think they throwing this in there. I think they had this plan that they were gonna have this DLC as a buffer for people, but I think they're still trying to figure out some nooks and crannies of the game, of the next one.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, what are they gonna
So I guess they
X?
were just working on some filler stuff to keep us entertained.
Yeah, and I think I think it's taking a little longer than it, but they want it to, and I think they're worried about people being disappointed. When you do play the next one, that you basically start over. 'Cause that's what has to happen. There's no way it can.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. There's no way I don't see that happening
Yeah.
because you got way too strong, way too powerful, way too high level. I mean, they give you level 50. If they gave you level 30, it would make sense. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
And then by
level
the
90,
time you're like
level
on part
99.
three, you're like at level 90, 99 ish, and you could,
Yeah,
finalize the game.
yeah. And then the last, you make it three parts, you make it four parts, whatever. You could, they made level 30, level 99 is the max, whatever. They give you 30 levels. The last, every game has about 30 levels. Like it
Yeah.
makes sense. But the
What do
fact that they
you?
give you 50,
Go ahead.
only saying, if they only give you 50, only thing they can do is next game, it's only 25 levels. Yeah, obviously, you usually get harder to level. So maybe they give you 25 and but then, like, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense to what they're gonna. Now, obviously, with the Yuffie and everything and introducing her, I think I still think a huge part of how they combine the game, 'cause I can bet money she robs you. That's how you lose everything.
Yes, that's a good point.
And that's why they're putting in this Yuffie to say, hey, look, this is who this person is. This
Yeah,
way she
she's
don't
gonna
in the
steal
beginning
your
of the game,
stuff
she
as
don't
soon
just
as you get
rob
out
you
of
for no reason.
Midgar.
I think, which is my prediction, I'm calling it now, that at the end of this Final Fantasy DLC, she robs you.
That's good.
I'm predicting it. I'm predicting that they bump into Cloud. She robs them, and it's like a wink to the it's the wink to the people.
Yeah.
because they knew exactly what this is gonna be, you know.
Yeah,
So then when
that's
you play
good.
the new
That makes
game, you
sense.
have nothing. You start with nothing because she took it, and a big part of it takes a while for you to get back to get the ship in order for you to fly to get to that place.
Hmm.
Obviously they're gonna do their own. They said it already that they're gonna have the majority of the story in there, but it's gonna be done a little differently. You know,
Yeah.
they already said that.
Hmm.
So you might not, you might go to that first town and you have that big flashback with Sephiroth, but you might not go to the base after that. You might do something else. No, we don't know what's gonna happen. It might not do the same exact linear path, but I think it's gonna have the
Wow.
whole.
You got me excited now. That's actually such a good idea.
I mean, it's the only thing that to me, the only thing that makes sense that
Yeah.
if they do that, people be like, yeah, this is what happened in the game, and you lost all your shit. Especially if you don't, if you talk to her, and then you had to go get it.
Yeah.
So,
You
the same
gotta you
thing.
gotta earn back your summons. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
because she
man.
takes it all,
Yeah.
and you know, which again kind of sucks because it's like that's the thing. I think they got too. Maybe not. I can't say that. They did a good job. If you realize the first game, they gave you some fun stuff. They gave you Bahamut, but that Bahamut's
Muhammad,
the
Ifrit,
only
Shiva. Yeah.
Bahamut, Infant Shiva, Leviathan,
You don't get any of
and
those, not even
Turbo,
close until like much
Carbuncle.
farther into the game.
Yeah, but if you think about it, in the original game, there are so many. There's Neo Bahamut, there's Mega
Mm-hmm.
Bahamut. There's obviously Ultimate, the Knights of the Round, which is
Mm-hmm.
probably going to be towards the end.
Yeah.
You know, and they didn't give you any. They didn't give you Alexandria. They didn't give you Odin. They didn't give you like there's a plethora of different that I think they can. Obviously, they took these away, then they can give you five, six more
So, but do you
easy
but
without
do you think you still be
being.
able to get the old ones plus the new ones that they might give you, or they'll just like be like, okay, you had fun with those
Yeah,
old
I
materials.
think,
Now here's the new stuff.
and that's the part that I'm not, that I don't know. Yeah, I think you can get it back. I think
Mm-hmm.
towards the end of that game, you might get it back, but then what happens to the third part? You can't,
Yeah.
you can't just keep robbing you.
Yeah.
Like what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
So that's the part where it's like I have the questions because they made too powerful. They can't give you back get her damn it, whatever it's called, get her done. They can't give you that back. Like you can't just start every fight with a something
Yeah.
gonna break the game. So
Yeah. It's a
we'll see what
balance.
happens.
That's cool. Oh, what do you
And then
think
they
about
have to play
the?
that balance with the
What do you
game.
think about all those little spin-off stuff like the mobile game and the fucking battle royale game?
I don't like the battle royale game, but it's them trying to spin off that. It's what them trying to spin off and make something else of this game. It was what's the card game that everybody loves with Sephiroth as pretty much his crew that they'll keep talking about.
What
You play as the black haired squall. I mean, you play as as Zack.
card game?
It's basically was a card game, but it was a fighting. It was the
Oh,
PS
you're talking
the
about the actual
PlayStation
game,
game.
Crisis Core.
Crisis Core. Okay,
Yeah,
Crisis
it
Core.
wasn't a card game. You're talking about the slots. It was a slot game.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
slots. Yeah, it was slots. It was cheesy. I
yeah.
think this is gonna be like equal to that. This is them trying to make that. This is extra little side thing with these side characters that has to do with the main storyline somehow. But they're trying to make it a little game.
Mm-hmm.
It might boom because nobody thought. I don't think we thought Crisis Core was gonna be that big. I don't think they
I
thought
love
the
that game.
Zack character that people loved it. It was a great game. Storyline, storyline. Game itself was kind of cheesy, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like this lot. Stupid. But the storyline, you want to know, got to know why, how you really became Cloud or Cloud became. This is you know. So it was all that tied into it. Plus, what made Sephiroth tick. Why did he go crazy? And it was a great story. So I think it's kind of equal to that. Now the other stuff, I think it's time. They're gonna the other one, the mobile game of Final Fantasy
The whole Final
Seven.
Fantasy
I'm
series.
not really. It's the whole Final Fantasy series. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I don't know if it's gonna be the straight like the whole entire series as an RPG
I,
like that.
I did a little bit more
'Cause
reading
I don't.
after they announced it and after we talked about it on a previous episode. They're gonna release it episodically, and it's not so you're not exactly playing the literal entirety of the storyline. It's gonna be like bits and pieces of like the highest points of the story.
Oh, so like fast forward
Yeah,
towards it.
yeah,
That's weird.
yeah. And I don't know if it's gonna start with the prequels first, such as like you start with Crisis Core and Seven, and then Dirge of Cerberus or whatever it may be. But they just said it's gonna be episodic and it's gonna be the high points of the whole story.
So, but that's one game that I have no idea how come out of. It could be another Final Fantasy Exodus for all I know, where it's just
Mm.
cash grab.
Yeah, we
Because that
talked about
Exodus
that
is just a
too.
giant cash grab.
We were trying to predict if they were going to add microtransactions because that's almost inevitable in any mobile game.
Yeah, that's how they make their money. It's a
Hmm.
free game usually that
Yeah.
they make money off of that, and they you pay for whatever.
If it's
If they're
episodic,
gonna
maybe
make,
they'll just do a subscription thing.
I mean, the thing is, if it was a real game and you really would have had all this crazy shit tied in, they would have put it on a console, a PS, Switch, or something. You know?
Yeah.
Not a PlayStation 5, obviously, but like a Vita. I
Oh
don't know if
no,
they even
nobody
make
touches
games for that
Vita
anymore.
anymore.
Still, something like. I mean, yeah, you can do it for the phone 'cause it's advanced now,
You're breaking up.
but I don't think it's. Said yeah, I know you can do it for the phones nowadays because they're so advanced, but I don't think. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be a real game. I think it's
No.
gonna be
There are a lot of
a
people
cash grab.
who think that mobile gaming is not really gaming or hardcore gaming anyway. So yeah, it's hard
But
to see
I
how
think
popular the
I
game will be.
I think that's a mistake. I think you can make a phone gaming to hardcore gaming if you
Oh
want
yeah,
to. They're just using it as microtransaction galore.
yep.
That's all they see it as.
There's
You're on your phone
potential,
taking a
and they're
shit.
not
You want to
using
buy
it the
them.
right way.
Yeah, if there are some games that I play there's mobile games like League of Legends. There's one like it for the phone that plays just like League of Legends,
Hmm.
exactly like it. And I play it all day, and it could be considered a competitive game.
Hmm.
The same exact way any other one of those games would be. It's right up there, just as fun. The Magic the Gathering game, yeah, it's filled with cash grab to try to get you to buy packs, but that's what Magic
Yeah,
the Gathering is.
yeah,
Cash grabs make you try to buy packs, so you can't like say it's not. It's the same fucking game. They did a great job with it. It's glitchy now, right? I'm having some. It's in this like beta stage now, so I have glitches, but still, it's a great game, and they can capitalize on that if they wanted to. They can make that the new PlayStation Vita. They
yeah,
were trying to do
yeah,
these smaller games, these like that Final Fantasy, or what everybody thinks it might be, which again is I don't know.
yeah. Well, let's move on from that because we could talk about pretty much all those topics forever. Um, let's get to our retro stuff. Us being old farts,
Retro.
so we wanted to talk at least once, 1 week out of the month. We wanted to talk about retro video games, Super Nintendo, Nintendo, Genesis, Atari, whatever it may be. Lots of stuff that we've all played. So me and Danny will be picking out some of our favorites every month, and we'll start talking about that now. So Danny, what was your first pick?
First pick was Bionic Commando. I was joking
Suburban.
with him
I
earlier that
keep
I
on thinking about
kept thinking Suburban Commando, the Hulk
Hulk
Hogan
Hogan.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that movie.
yeah.
Bionic Commando. It was one of my, as a kid, it was one of the few games I first got from my Nintendo. Along with Mario and Contra.
Hmm.
Those are the Suburban Bionic Commando it was hard as fuck. I remember never being able to. I don't think I ever actually beat the game.
I don't
I
think
don't
so
think I got
either.
anywhere near because it's one of those classic games like Mega Man. Mega Man's a classic story of games of the day to actually be challenging. You start to learn patterns and learn
Mm-hmm.
um, the way the boards work. And it's not just memorizing one; you have to memorize the entire game in order to beat it. Because once you died, you start over.
Yep.
There's no save points, there's no memory card, there's no checkpoint. That's it. So Suburban Command was right up there with those games. It was fun. It was not I'm not gonna say open world, but you could feel like you swing around and kind of go places where you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
It had a great concept. It was a bizarre story about basically these Nazi type people. I think they called them baddies or something.
I
But
don't
in like
remember.
Japan, they call them Nazis. They
Oh,
straight
okay.
call them Nazis in Japan. So
Yeah,
that was
didn't you
funny.
you fought
You
Hitler
know,
at the end, or I know they
yeah.
changed it eventually, but you fought Hitler in
They
the
they
end.
called him like Master D or something.
Oh.
I think his name was in America.
Mm.
So like you blow his head up with a bazooka or something, and then you run. You have like 60 seconds to leave the blaze and do a victory. That same thing at the end. Again,
Did
I
you
only seen video and that.
did you ever play the remake? That awful remake.
I wanted that remake to be good. You know, the I it had a good concept. It's just him swinging around and making it a little more like that linear open world.
Yeah.
You know, obviously linear, you can only go one place, but you still feel like you can go wherever you want. Obviously, you only go forward. You know, so it was all right. I mean, I liked it. I had fun with it, but it was just the problem is that Suburban Commando had. I mean, Bionic Commando had no real storyline. There was like it's probably like 2 pages worth of
There's a
dialogue throughout
bad
the whole
guy. You
fucking
chase the
game.
bad guy. You kill him. That's
There's
it.
a bad guy, you chase the bad guy, you kill him. That's
Yeah.
it. Next area. So you can't make a good game out of that when there is lore to make a game out of. Just
That's
the
when
way the
you
guy looks.
that's when you
So
come up with the fact that your wife was your arm the whole time.
that's what it was. I
You
forgot about
you
all
didn't
that.
hear about that?
Fuck. Holy
I
shit.
never beat the game. I did play it myself too, but yeah, that was the twist in the end of the game. Your wife's consciousness after she died in the beginning was put into your
God.
arm.
Yeah. So that's my saying. That's what I mean. Like they had no storyline, so they create this wow fucking far for story. I didn't even know that. That was bad. And sometimes less is more, but there's
Yeah,
certain games you just can't read. You have to slowly move into it.
yeah.
You know, there,
Actually, the after
there's
that
what,
remake happened, they came out with a remastered HD retro version of like the original one for Xbox
yeah,
Live, and that was actually pretty well received.
I remember that was fun. That was really fun. I remember playing that and thinking, oh yeah, this is what games used to be back in the day, and stuff like that. But it was good. But again, a game like that was just for gameplay.
Yeah.
Pure just you just want to shoot stuff, grab the claw, the barrels with your claw, whatever it was. But it was fun. It was
Yeah.
a fun game, and it was one of those games where anybody who played it loved just have fun. You know, it appealed to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Swinging around, shooting, and again, it's just a hard game. So that's my retro. I just love playing the game.
So that's
Still
a
picture all the green from the first map.
that's an NES game. So I'll match you with another NES game. This is probably what did I have last time? I had Metal Gear.
And
Oh Lord, I
the
can't remember.
that God game called where you
Oh,
play as a
ActRaiser.
god
Yeah,
and
yeah. I'm actually streaming
Actraiser,
that.
yeah.
I'm actually streaming that on Saturdays. I've been playing ActRaiser for the past 2 weeks.
That's funny.
It's been taking me back, man, because I love it. I got all my my old retro systems like the PS1 Classic, the SNES Classic. I got them all
Yeah.
hooked up now. So I've been playing all that stuff and digging up some old games and yeah, ActRaiser is a lot of fun. But so I was trying to say, so ActRaiser is one of my favorites of all time, and this one will probably be my other favorite, which is Blaster Master. So Blaster Master, do you remember that game at
Blaster
all?
Master.
It had the
Just
dumbest story. and I didn't understand it even as a kid. I was like 5 years old or whatever, and there was some kid, he loses his frog, and it falls in like some chemical stuff, so it turns into like a mutant, and it turns all like giant, and he it runs away. It digs a tunnel and it runs away. So the kid chases after it, and he falls inside the tunnel, and there's a freaking tank that he finds, like some weird alien or upgradable like high tech tank and a suit. So he just jumps in and uses the tank to try to find his lost frog. So, or like giant at this point, which at the end of the game you find out that the frog is like the final boss. I think it was. So you end up killing it anyways. So, but the whole game was like a side-scrolling shooter platformer where
Yeah.
you play as a tank, you're running around shooting shit, but then you can also get out of the tank and you're like this itty bitty little character model that you can run
Oh
around the
yeah, I
world.
remember that now. I
There you
remember getting
go.
out. Yeah, I remember getting out of the tank and fighting.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
remember like,
So you can
why
still
would you
shoot
do
around
this?
with
This
it.
is stupid. But I remember, yeah,
Well, that was the catch. The catch was you can get out as a little itty bitty person when you're in the open world, but it was dangerous. So you pretty much get your ass handed to you if you did that. But it was an option. But the point was that you can get out to reach certain areas that were impossible for the tank, and then you go into these areas, and it kind of turns into like a top down shooter where you play as the character like more up close. So that's when like the interaction with the world happens with the person, and the game gets a little bit easier. Like like you don't take as much damage because you're in this more confined space. So, so
yeah,
it was like in a sense, basically, it was two styles of gaming in one. And then on top of that, you can upgrade your tank because it had all these different powers and stuff, and all these different missiles and bullets. So it was cool.
yeah, and
It was
jumping
really cool.
abilities and stuff like that. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah, like this double
because it
jumps.
still was a classic. Yeah, it was still a classic platform game where you jumping or whatever. It to me, it reminded me a lot of Masteries, you know,
Like what?
because it looked like it. You're shooting Mega Man,
Oh, okay.
the original Mega Man. It was very similar. The colors, the blockiness of it. It was very. I'm not sure if it's the same developers or not, but it looked very much the similar. And the way you shot things, get power-ups, whatever it was, even the enemies, the way they came at you, very similar. You know,
Yeah, yeah. They all had a pattern
I
to them.
remember,
They were always there on the same spot.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Those a lot of
it's a
fun.
thing, which is the thing back in the days, because it's just not because they have a pattern, it's because they have to basically games reset, because they can't hold that much memory. But it makes
Mm-hmm.
you seem as if, well, I gotta learn the patterns now.
Yeah, yeah. They made a sequel for the PS1, which was god awful. The graphics were really bad. You could barely know where you're at because like the
It's
polygon
funny.
like textures and stuff were so bad for like the walls and the maps. Like you get lost because you couldn't see where you're going. At least for me, anyways, when I played it. But they're coming out with another reason why I named it now is because a week or two ago they announced a HD remastered version of the original. So they're remaking
The
the
Zero,
game.
right?
Yeah, they're remaking the game, and oh man, I got excited. I want to play that.
That should be. That's the thing. A lot of the remakes, they can clean it up, make it look nicer, play a little
Yeah,
easier,
yeah.
put
It
fucking
looks like it
checkpoints and
plays
stuff.
different. It looks like they've changed it up quite a bit, and so I'm interested in knowing how that goes. So you got another
To
game?
go. Yeah, I'll take it back to RPG games. We were talking
Mm.
about them earlier. One of my all-time favorite, probably second only to Final Fantasy VII, which I never played when it first came out. When it came out, probably in the 80s,
Uh huh.
the 80s. Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger
Oh,
T
80,
games.
89? No, no, I was not 5 years old.
95.
95. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That sounds
95.
about right.
Come on, 95. So, and obviously Square Enix game, or Square at the time.
Square.
Um, yeah, it was. It's a game that I played on the PC on an emulator because everybody told me, oh, if you like Final Fantasy, you'll love. Or they kept comparing, oh, it's the best game since Final Fantasy is the best game, but it still won't be. So I said, what the fuck is this Chrono Trigger? Let me finally play this. Played it and was like, wow, this is a great game. The storyline, you know, it had the storyline, the gameplay, the mechanics, everything.
Yeah.
Great. The the multi like no, the combos you can
Oh, you're
combine
breaking up.
moves, the combos that you could do to make moves,
Hmm.
to do moves, to finish, like all that was just great. The more characters you got, the different combos you'd be able to do, the storyline, going back in time, great. Playing in the future, going back in time, going to the present, past, and having to do all three at the same time. It's just a great method to have a game. Like it was just a great
Yeah, the
storyline,
time travel
and
thing wasn't
for
really
that,
done like that, was it? I don't think it's
no,
ever really been done before
not
at
not
that
like
point.
and, and and it wasn't done in a way where it was just okay, you went back in time and now your whole game time. No, you had to go back in time and then go forward
Yeah.
to finish some other stuff, then go back to the middle, your present day, and you had to bounce three to really play. And it's a game that if you did not pay attention to the storyline, you will be stuck.
Yeah, you get lost
Because
easily.
I know, because I know I've done that where I played it again. I have it on my phone, but I'm skipping the story because I know this. I read this. Like, fuck, where I have to go. No, you should have been paying attention, bitch. Now you're stuck. So it's a phenomenal game again. Then, granted, I never beat it, right? Because, and what I heard, there's multiple endings, which also makes it a great game.
Yeah, yeah.
Any game that can have multiple endings like that based on what you're doing, right there and then,
You could
especially for back then, like that had something that's not. I don't know how many game endings do I know, they're quite a bit, but that right there is just like, come on, what game,
you could
especially
literally
an
beat the
RPG, does
game in
that?
the beginning as soon as you start. Um, as soon as you're allowed to able to time travel wherever whenever you want, you can time travel straight to the final boss and try to beat him at the level
Yeah,
that you're
and
at.
fight them, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and there's strategies in order to
So
do that, so you can actually beat it and get an ending that way too.
yeah, or you lose and you get an ending as well.
Yeah,
You know, he destroys the world. You lost, game over. Like, but I got to the ending, and my emulator got corrupted. And the fucking whole thing just
uh,
crashed. I never got to beat it. Fuck, I went through all this,
mm,
and I've gotten pretty far again. My phone, but last time I had to fly to Utah,
hmm.
and I think next big flight, I think I end up beating it.
If I could
No,
dig out my Vita, I still might have my save game, and I was like towards the end when I was still playing it on that. I'm gonna check that out. I
it's
wonder if I can still play it.
but it's a fun game. It's a great RPG. There was everything, had all the elements in an RPG. Had the healing tactics, the fire, whatever, all those tactics. It's just a classic RPG. It's show that it's one of the games that I believe, and they they made a sequel, the Cross, which is actually what I played first. And I think with you, and you were like, oh, you gotta play the original Chrono Trigger, and then that's what made me download the emulator. I
Uh,
loved the Chrono Cross was a great game.
yeah,
It wasn't the best game, don't get me wrong, but it was still a fun RPG
it was a good
that I
RPG. It
liked.
had
I
some
had a
interesting
lot of.
mechanics. I think people were just disappointed that it didn't make enough references to the original.
Yeah, because it tried to do the Final Fantasy where this is a new game. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we have the name
Yeah,
in it, but this is a new game.
yeah.
It was fun. It had great potential. I liked it, and I'm upset that they didn't. But I think it's one that they will make. They will do the Final Fantasy remake treatment to it.
I hope
And
so,
it
man.
can be done,
I hope so.
and because it has such great potential in that game. The storyline was
I can wish.
phenomenal.
Can
Getting
you
that.
imagine like the how excited people would get if they got a like a souped up Final Fantasy VII remake version of Chrono Trigger?
That would be phenomenal,
Oh man.
and I think they can do it. You might get it one day because Chrono Trigger is a game. Whenever people talk about RPGs, that's always between Final Fantasy, always the games they say, oh, those are the top games. There's nothing, and they all have. Everybody says, oh, I like Chrono Trigger more. I like Final Fantasy. You know,
Yeah.
so those are. I had to.
Um,
I've had to pick that game. That was a great game.
so because of limited time, because like we could have talked about three games specifically, but we'll just do two. So I'll give you my last one to finish up, because I know you got shit to do. You got a life outside of this, so you got to go to bed or whatever.
Sleep and work. Yeah.
Yeah, you got kids too, so that's a big thing. So yeah, my final one is going to be for the Sega Genesis, Altered Beast. Altered Beast, for those who have an idea, is a side-scrolling beat 'em up. Super simple: punch, kick, jump. Pretty much it. But you could, and it's like one of those self-scrolling ones, those auto-scrolling type of games. So,
Yeah.
but the whole point is that you kill like these particular animals for power ups, and it turns you into a beast. So, like the first level, you turn into like a this badass werewolf. The second level, I believe, the second level was a bear, and then every level is like a different beast that you could use to kill the final boss of the level, which is a lot of fun. I think it was an interesting concept, and I guess it was fairly generic story,
It was
but
weird. You get like a were. It was a werewolf, a weird dragon, a weird
yeah,
bear, weird tiger.
tiger, yeah,
I think like wolf was at the end.
wolf
Yeah,
at the end.
werewolf. A golden
Oh,
werewolf. Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a lot of
It was a
fun.
it was a
It
weird
was
game.
it was a hard game though. It was really hard
Yeah.
because even though enemies would somewhat be random, kind of, so you can kind of memorize the 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 layout of every level and stuff like that. There was a bit of unpredictability. I remember when playing it a lot, the hitboxes kind of like didn't make a lot of sense to me. I couldn't like read it properly, so a lot of the times it was hard to predict like when or how close you can get to something before you get hit. So to me, it was hard. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know about other people. Did you get to play it?
Yeah. I played it,
Mm.
and I remember reading something about it. How with games where the ending, if you do beat it, it was to be a film. They like to do that a lot. I read that when I was reading about Bob and shit like that. It was a film production. It was supposed to be you see the credits scene basically Bob's whole game is depicted on
Oh yeah,
stage.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
actually not really magic, you know.
yeah,
It's a fake like stage prop thing, and they kind of bow and leave.
yeah.
But that was a big thing they used to do back in the day because there's like all types of ninja games, things like that. That once you beat the game, it turns out that is just it's a
It's just a
Japanese thing that
play.
they
Yeah.
a play. This production. This was just their opera
That was
version of
Mario.
a
That was Super Mario
storyline.
Brothers 2 actually. Part 2.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
well, it was
That's
all a
where it came from because
dream,
it was
wasn't it?
very Japanese. It was all a dream,
Yeah.
you know. But that was a big thing back in the day. It was having them step out of reality, and go, no, this wasn't real. Nobody got hurt. It's fucking game, and then they bow and walk away. We all friends, and it was to try to make art out of it, more art out of it. That is not just some smashy, but it's actually a storyline. It's actually games.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
So
it focused. It was either Greek or Roman, like mythology, kind of like creatures and the story. I know it's one or
the
the other.
Greek, yeah, Greek
Yeah.
mythology. It was interesting. It was a very weird game. Games that unless somebody tells you you gotta try this game, you never would. You know what I mean?
Probably.
It's a game easily get pushed aside just based off the cover.
Yeah.
And you got this giant guy with this little head, and it's like, come on, what the hell is this game? Because you know. Speaking of, was that your next game?
What?
Was it was it Bunk? Your next
It
one?
was bonk. I mean, if you got enough time to talk.
Yeah, because speaking of big head, I remember playing. Oh, fuck, what was what system was it for? The Retro.
It was quite a few things. It was Genesis, TurboGrafx 16. They had an SNES version, but my favorite
I
version
think I
would have
had
been
it.
the
I think I played it.
TurboGrafx.
That's what I played that on. That's the only way I played was my cousin actually had it,
Okay.
and he had that and some other games. To this day, I don't remember what the hell it was. I think you were in a mech or a robot or something, and you would get this giant sword, this laser. I don't know, something weird like that.
eSWAT?
But Bonk, I can't remember. I have no. I would
Uh,
no. If you told me the name, I would
okay.
have to see it.
Yeah, yeah.
But Bonk was bizarre, and the graphics were very well. I thought they were very well done. They were like that cel shaded animated type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and nicely done.
Yeah.
Especially for how old it is.
Yeah, yeah. It was
You
you
walk
played as
around.
a big headed caveman, just literally head button everything. Fighting
That's
dinosaurs
how
and
you
stuff.
would destroy things. But yeah, it was all dinosaurs, and you were like in this Flintstone type universe where three parts of this game. Um,
Yeah.
I've only played the original one. I probably would never ever play a sequel because it's like no, that's not. I would never want a remake of it. It was just him bending down to hit the headbutt people like he was bowing to them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah. And then
the
you like
beginning. I remember the
you
beginning,
could eat pieces of meat
the
and it'll
fourth.
like piss him off or something, and like
Yeah,
you went like
yeah,
Super Saiyan basically.
yeah. Yeah, or you would do the dive bombs in your head. Like that's how
Yeah, a
you
little
fought like one of
earthquake.
the first few bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they would like freeze time and then you just headbutt people. It was just the game was just weird. This is
Yeah, that was a lot
nothing
of
more
fun.
than you say than it was a strange game, you know. And it's one of those games that you have to tell people about. But like, you never play Pong? Like it's like Altered Beast. Oh, you never played Altered Beast? Yeah, you gotta try that. Why? It's the stupidest,
You
most fun
you
game
know
you've
what's
ever played.
funny
It's
is
like,
that when you try to explain like retro games like that, it's really hard to try to sell it to someone because of how ridiculous some stories and gameplay was.
it's like what? You're hitting with the head and you're picking up, you're stepping on fruit to whatever. Or
Yeah.
no, this game sounds stupid. You're doing dive bomb on your head. No, this is ridiculous. Why would I want to play it? But you play it and it's just, oh, this is kind of addicting. This is kind of fun. Oh shit, this is way harder than it should be. Yeah, Bonk is one of those games definitely people have to check out 'cause it's such a weird kind of remind you know what it reminds me of?
What?
Rocco's
What was it?
almost like Rocco's Modern Life. Uh,
Oh.
Rocco's Modern Life was a show for kids, quotation marks. Actually watch it, like what the hell are you watching? You shouldn't be watching this shit because this is fucked up.
Yeah.
There's so many innuendos. And when you play the bonk, it's the same where so many weird little extra things that are like kids just think it's funny, but you look at it like, no, that's weird. What the fuck are you? Why is that guy naked or whatever it is? It's a weird game, very strange, very bizarre. And until you play it, you never really know, the beauties of those games. And again, I played it on what was the Atari, just the
The
what was
TurboGrafx.
the system you just said? Fuck it,
TurboGrafx
TurboGrafx.
16. Yeah.
And I never had a TurboGrafx. Yeah, TurboGrafx 16. And I never had it. My cousin had it, and I had no clue what the fuck. Just everything about TurboGrafx was very weird, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was a good game.
Cool. Cool. Well, we'll just leave it there. So yeah, Bonk. We had Chrono Trigger. We
Okay.
had shit. What was my other
Suburban
one?
Commando.
Suburban Commando, featuring Hulk Hogan. Uh, or no, Bionic Commando. Which
Yeah,
is yeah,
Bionic.
it's pretty cool. And then Blaster Master. So yeah, so those were the ones we talked about. Uh, Anybody who's still around, send us what your favorite retro games are. Don't forget that we have social media pretty much everywhere. So check us out. All the links will be in the show descriptions. Check us out. And normally we record Monday nights 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time live for the episodes. This Monday we missed it because I was severely sick actually on Sunday and Monday. But everything's good and better now. So we'll probably still try to record an episode this week. So we'll see what's going on with that. And as always with Danny, we record once a month. So me and him will talk about some retro games once a month because he is a busy, busy man. And yeah, but thank you, Danny, for joining us for another episode.
Well,
And oh Jesus, it's late. So yeah, I'll let
if
you
you ever
guys go.
want, if you ever,
Say what?
okay, if you ever want to talk about another topic, it's good. It doesn't have to be once a month. Whenever you just ask me.
Well, I mean, yeah, yeah. Hold on, let me actually.
Just ask.
We'll talk about that. Hold on a second. Let me stop the stream here. But I'll see you guys.
Ah,
We didn't stop it
I thought you did. Forgot these